What is up, guys? Zach in here.
Rick in here.
And in today's video, we are going to show you I think like a $4,000 or $5,000 weekend seminar on a boat again. And really what we're going to do is we're going to hype you up and really share you and really give you actually the real information. So what we're going to do is really share how to make $40,000 in 40 days or less. We're going to give you an action plan, everything you need to know on exactly how to make over $40,000 in 40 days or less with what we call, you got to think of a guru, right? Yeah. So if I'm going to sell you a $4,000 weekend seminar on my boat, and I can tell you this, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to have to do a sexy name, right? So what are the names we can do? We can call it the Gin method. We can think of an animal. The lizard method. We could put an animal with it. What's a snazzy name I can sell people things, And then I'm like, you know what? Let's just do. I just made something up, So what we did was I kind of thought about it. I'm like, you know what? Let's do this. We're gonna call it the 40-40-44 method. And there's a lot of fours in this. But if we're gonna make $40,000 in 40 days, we're gonna do a lot of fours. All right. We're gonna do a lot of F in that, right? A lot of fours, right? So really gotta look at that, right? So I really look at it as this. So this is the method we're going to teach today, the 40-40-44 method. And what is the 40-40-40? What is the 40-40-4 method, right? The 40-40-44 method is a method where I'm going to show you how to make $40,000, 40 days, working 40 hours a week so you can get 4 deals.
Wow.
That's really what we're going to share today. And it's, we're looking at the weekend seminar, right? We start on maybe a Saturday. We end on a Sunday. We start on Friday, get jacked up.
Do I get a nice dinner too?
Oh, of course you get the steak dinner. And then we go on the sunset cruise on the boat, and I don't have to talk about my real business in front of you guys because I'm scared. And you got a jacket and a hat, right?
Jack in the hat.
A jacket and then the hat.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously.
And then you need nice tennis shoes with it too.
Yeah. So guys, or put my Jordans
apparently
on.
That's the new accomplished look.
Right,
I don't know.
So guys,
I like the t-shirt method and the shorts and the flip flops,
but that's what we're gonna do today. I'm excited. I'm ready to go for you guys. So if you're ready to go, if you're jacked up to learn wholesaling real estate, do us a favor. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. If you're getting any value from this, hit that like button and subscribe. There's more people watching us live than we can even fit in a seminar usually. So that's why that's the way we do it.
But you got to get on a flight. You got to get a hotel.
Guys, you're saving a lot of money on this. So if you're doing a ton of money, make sure you subscribe to the channel and everything like that. So without further ado, let's do it. If we got to have a little thing, we got to, the gurus like doing this like weird rap beats and then bring out they edit it all. I don't care.
Entertainer, man.
We got a DJ. He's going to jack you guys up. It's wholesaling time and we're going to learn wholesaling real estate for free. So let's get it going, guys. People are ready to go. People are excited. People are ready to go to learn wholesaling real estate absolutely for free. So I'm super excited. I'm ready to help the people out. I'm ready to share exactly how you can become as successful as possible in your wholesaling real estate business. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's really break it down today. And it's an interesting method, right? You're going to make a ton of money doing this. And it's not for the faint of heart either, right? Like it does take some work and you're going to put the hours in. But if you put the hours in, you'll become successful. And honestly, what I can tell you is for a lot of people, right? We've had some crazy challenges and thoughts and things like that. And what I can tell you with this method is this method's worked for a lot of people. A lot of people have actually watched what we've done and they've actually come very successful with it. And that's really what I want to help the people out today with it. So let's talk about it, right? Let's really break things down and let's really get into the nitty gritty of it and really share it. And one thing I want to get people excited for, right? Because I do want to say this. We help a lot of people out and we do want to give it one shout out before we get into everything always when we hop on a live together because we're getting a lot of people sharing their wins. So I'm going to share a couple of wins I found from people from our last challenge we did and from people just listening to the stuff we talk about. So the first question is like, if I'm running a seminar, I got to jack you guys up. So I'm actually treating this like a real seminar. So let's talk about the seminar, right? How do I get people to actually pay attention? I got to actually show them stuff for them to pay attention. So let's show some wins from people that actually listen to what we say. Cause it's like, who is this crazy guy? Who's this other crazy dude? Why are they screaming? Why is there a DJ? Why am I going to listen to these crazy people? They don't know what they're doing. Let me just share you exactly how you know what we're doing. I'm assuming you guys don't know who we are. So we go here. This is our mastermind, 80,000 strong. I'm going to give a shout out to what our stuff works. So here's Britton. Britton's learning from our stuff. She's out closing company. A nice $30,000 summit right there.
That's awesome.
Let's get it. Excited for her. She's doing well. And then one other here, just shout out to Fernando here. He does a revert. He got another deal from Reverse Rank for dollars, $10,370, guys. So
wait a minute. I thought you had to have skin in the game to make wholesaling work.
Right,
That's what I'm pitched every day. This can't be true. Do you guys realize you can do this? Like this thing where you're going to pay someone X amount of fees, they're going to share all the secrets for you. We have removed that. And honestly, I have more experience than most of them all put together. And with Zach along my side, like we're here for the long haul. So I'm just telling you, I'm so tired of that argument. I think we can put it to bed this year that it doesn't matter. You're all going to go on a journey. You have to choose on who you go with it. At the end of the day, you have to be accountable for the actions you take in wholesaling. That is the biggest obstacle between you and getting paid. If you don't take the action, you won't get paid. It's that simple. You don't need a guru and spend thousands of dollars to figure this out. We've proven it over and over every day. We have the largest active wholesaling Facebook group, hands down, Wholesaling Houses for Real. You guys see our YouTube, like it's just exploding, and it's all for you guys. All we do is give you guys what you want, which is you want the truth and you want it to be authentic. And without that, you can never truly have transparency on how this business works. This business has its challenges, it's got issues, but it's easily solvable. So many people think if I pay a guru, you guys think by paying this fee, it solves your problem. And we've already proven that is not the case. So don't be laundered like, oh, it's free. Anything's are free. Yeah, we're the only guys, actually guys and gals, there's no gals here, but we're the only ones that do 100% free. I do not have a lead funnel to trick you into something. I know it's rare. It's extremely crazy, but you guys have proven it works. And I don't listen to other gurus and stuff like that because you're the only ones that I'm trying to please. I'm trying to give you true transparency on how it works. This journey didn't start. This journey started back in 2003 for you. Like I didn't start in 2015 to go, let me show you how to do it in the greatest market of all time. So if you guys enjoy the content, you have fun, make sure you hit that like button, you hit subscribe, and we want to share this with as many people as possible.
So I appreciate y'all. Let's get into everything. And remember, guys, we have a free wholesaling course where we just teach wholesaling because I cannot individually talk to everybody one-on-one. There's too many people, and I'm not a broke guru. I make a ton of money in my business, and I'm not here to go answer and go out to coffee with y'all. But I will do some one-on-ones with you guys on when the allowed time that we have. So make sure you guys go to freewholesaling.com, and it's all in there. But really, let's break down the method. So now I said a lot of fours in this method, right? So we're going to do the tongue twister again, but this method is the 40-40-40-44 method.
Yes.
And I got to ask everybody a question. How many methods? So technically, how many ways do you think you can do the 40-40-44 method? I want everyone to know in the chat. Let me know in the chat how many different ways you can attack this method. Is it one way? Is it two ways? Is there 40 ways? How many ways do you think you can attack this method? And I figured out, and Chase has it. There's 4 ways to do the 40-40-44 method. All right, there's 4 ways to do it. And we're going to break down the 4 ways to do the 40-44 method. And we're going to break it down. We're excited, and we're going to share exactly how to do it. It's kind of funny, but it's absolutely true. And that's the way we did it. So let's kind of break down the 4 different methods to do it, right? So let's talk about the first one. We saw that check from Fernando. It's like, what the heck? And I actually posted that check on my Instagram. I kid you not, I had 100 DMs last night.
Yeah.
What the heck is reverse drawing for dollars? Now, I have 170,000 followers on Instagram, and I kind of got beef with them because we only have 62,000 subscribers. And I'm like, that's 110,000 people that don't subscribe to the YouTube channel, which makes no sense to me. Yeah. But whatever, I digress for another day. So that's why I get hundreds of people that don't follow me on subscribe on YouTube. And they're like, what the heck is reverse drawing for dollars? And I'm like, how don't you know? This is a crazy, like fire your guru. Reverse drawing for dollars is a method we're going to talk about. That's going to be method 1. And everyone rolls their eyes when I say it, but heck, if y'all keep sending me checks and y'all keep doing deals from reverse drawing for dollars, I'm going to keep talking about it. And hey, I don't care. So what's method 1? Method 1 is pretty simple, but this is going to be doing 2,000, and this is for a month. Okay. This is a month. Mm-hmm. All right. Pulling 2,000 drawing for dollars leads and putting 2,000 sticky notes on here. It ain't for the faint of heart. I'm telling you, it ain't for the faint of heart, but making 40,000 is something in the 1% of Americans on income wise. So that's 480,000 a year. I think once you get over 384, 400, you're technically in the 1% of income earners in the United States of America. So if you want to become part of the 1% of income earners in the United States of America, you have to do you have to work harder than 99% of people in America. And a lot of people think you have to work more hours, and it's not about working more hours. It's about getting more done within your hours, because everybody knows there's guys at the gym that work out an hour a day and they don't get anything done in the gym. They talk around, they stay on their phone. Then there's one guy who's got his headphones and his hoodie on going crazy in the gym for an hour, and they're just more muscular. And there's diet, all that stuff, but like it's more about what you get done in the hours of the day. So 2,000 drawing for dollars leads, that is hustling every moment when you're drawing for dollars and doing sticky notes, answering, doing all this stuff. But it is possible. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of dedication, but there's over 2,000 ugly houses if you're in a decent metro market, right? So if you're in Houston, Dallas, right? If you are in Cleveland, I can guarantee you there's probably 5x that. There's at least 10,000 of these houses you can do like right now. And there's probably an extra 1,000 that's going to hop on next month, right? Reverse drive for dollars, any type of government list you can do. Like we can go on and on forever, but really that, in my opinion, is going to be method number one. But reverse drive for dollars works. And if you don't know how to do it the right way, what to say, all the freewholesaling.com got you covered, right? Now let's talk about method number two. And this is another method where, we can go in this method. Like I can go talk about this method for, 40 hours, right? And really, I sort of look at it, right? So if you really got to look at schedule, right, I would probably say 9 to 12. If you're really going to look at things, it's going to be the best time to drive for dollars because the sun's kind of up. It's good between you and me. If people are working jobs, you're kind of out of the house during those times. And so you don't have to deal with people reverse driving for dollars being at the house if that's something you don't want to deal with. That's probably going to be the best time, 3 hours. And then you kind of spend the other hours pulling lists, doing things like that. That's probably going to be the best schedule to be doing things. But overall, that's what I could tell you on a schedule there, right? Like any thoughts on that?
You just got to do it. And some people like, they're always like, what's the perfect time to do this or cold call or reverse driving for dollars? Like in the beginning is when you can do it is really the best time. And then when you have more luxury of time, then you can start picking it. The reason we give you the suggestions, what time to do it and stuff, it's just we've spent a lot of time doing this and we know the ideal situation, but don't confuse ideal versus just being able to do it. So some of you guys are on a little bit stricter schedules. Maybe you have a job and you're trying to work out of it. So honestly, it's when you can do it is really the best time. And then as you leverage it and you move down the road and you got more freedom of time, then you can start looking at your data and picking the most opportunistic times to make it super effective.
Yeah, and I can tell everybody watching this video that when I say 2,000, it's not, it'd be nice to do that or I tried my best. It's 2,000. Oh. Okay. It's like when you ask somebody, hey, did you run a marathon? Well, I kind of ran a marathon,
I've done that before.
I walked 26 miles over 4 years. It's like you kind of look at it like, guys, either you did or you didn't.
It's a yes or no.
I hate to say that, but like it is a yes or no. It is the reason why I made this method the way it was. And this is why I literally put a definitive number on it is because if anyone hops on here and says, Zach, I did the 40, 40, 44 method and I didn't get any deals and you suck, you're the worst ever and you don't know what you're talking about, I would love for somebody to tell me in the eye that they did 2,000. I get this. People hop on. They will have the guts to go tell me that I'm stupid. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'll ask them truthfully to your face, did you do 2,000? They said, well, I did 1,000 and that's still good enough. Like no one can ever hop on and tell me that they did this, this, and this, and this is why they didn't do it. And the truth is 2,000 is the number. Go out here and do it. Right. I don't really meet anyone that does it. Right. Like I remember talking to Fernando on it and he was struggling starting out. I'm like, just keep doing it. I think once he hit 1,000, two, 3 deals, right? It's like, if you put 1,000, at least 1,000 out, you're going to get it. Like if you reverse drive for dollars and drive for dollars, if you are in a market that's not the worst in the world, you're going to get a deal.
Zach, what if I do 200? Will that work?
See, that's the thing, right?
See, like that's where you guys get in these catch-22. So 9 times out of 10, when we're doing the lives and the questions are like, I made 500 cold calls. And I'm like, I'm getting nowhere. I'm like, dude, you're just warming up. And you've got to understand this is a quantity game. In the beginning, when you're starting out wholesaling, is you don't have the experience, which is fine, but you're going to make it up in enthusiasm and quantity. See, because the quantity will give you the practice, the experience. But without quantity, you're not going to get experience. You can't get the experience without going through the journey. And once you understand that, you'll understand why me and Zach are so adamant about getting these numbers up, because you don't have the experience. So you're going to make some mistakes. You're going to lose some decent deals and you are going to learn from that journey. But most of all, you'll talk to more sellers. The more sellers you talk to, like this ain't rocket science, guys. I already told you, wholesaling is not about the smartest person. It's about the most energetic, enthusiastic person that can push through these barriers to get to where they want to get.
I agree. So And the next part is like, now, yes, it's going to take at least 40 hours to get there. And what I could say is I always get comments, I always get asked this, and I do want to explain this. Zach, how can I do that by only working 2 hours in a month, right? Or 2 hours in a week, right? Like everybody wants the magic pill. Everybody wants the thing. But you got to remember, if you want to become what it takes in life to become rich and successful and all these things, it's going to take work, right? If you look at the top income earners, they all pretty much work jobs. If you're making over 400K a year, you're working a job. You're working at least 40 hours a week. And the people that work less than 40 hours a week that make a bunch of money, either they grinded to get to that point, like you and me, like we're not working 40 hours a week, but we grinded to get to the point where we're at that, right?
I did a lot longer.
You were kind of, there's nothing wrong with it, right? Like there's nothing inherently bad, but like you were probably born into a rich family. And that means somebody in your family worked hard, and that's fine. But like, that's probably the reason why. If you were self-made and you did that, unless you were even an athlete, like they work 100-hour weeks because they're working out and things like that, you're gonna have to work, right? And for 99% of the people at that income level, you're gonna have to work hard, and you're not different, right? It's like you want to get six-pack abs, but you also want to eat burgers all day. It's like, it's gonna be very difficult to do that, right? There's a reason why having abs or being healthy is something that is an achievement or something great, and people look up to it because it's hard to do. Making a lot of money, something a lot of people look up to. It's great. It doesn't make who you are as a human being, but you got to remember this too, that it's achievable. It's a status symbol. It's all these things because it's hard to achieve. If everybody could have a Rolls Royce, then nobody would look at it as cool, right? If you pull up to somebody's house in a Toyota Camry, a lot of people can afford one. It's not as cool. If you pull up in a Lamborghini, it's kind of harder to get that, right? That's why it's more impressive for most people. And so if you want to make a ton of money in wholesaling, you're going to have to do the thing that is impressive, but unfortunately, it's going to be very difficult to do that. And that's the key to success. And that's the way hard work is.
Yeah, it's there's just no replacement for it. And you guys are exposed to more stuff. Like whenever you see any type of marketing pitch or anything, and I can speak for the real estate investing industry because that's my focus and that's all I'm ever going to teach you on. But it is relatable to everything else. Anything that's super sold to you, it's like it's easy. It'll replace this, and you don't have to do it anymore. Guys, like whenever you get sold a shortcut, it's usually going to create a much longer journey, and it's going to cost you a lot more money, and it's definitely going to cost you time. And then it's going to add the hurt and the pain. And part of my mission is to have you avoid it. And so if like just the old saying goes is choose your hard. Like life's not the easiest thing in the world, but choose your hard. So when we talk about we talk about wholesaling is, do you really think you can get a guru that's just going to give you everything, like make it super easy? You're going to be having abundant sellers. This method's going to kill wholesaling. It'll revolutionize what you do, and you don't have to go through that pain of wholesaling. Do you guys really buy into that? It doesn't work. Or you can just do the grassroots work, just like the method we're talking about today. Put in the time. And guys, 6 months to a year goes by super fast. And when you put in that time, you're going to yield the long-term results, and it's going to make you so fulfilled, so happy, but you have to put in the work. We are in a society where everything is short-term fit. Like, hey, the reality is your phones, which are now called smartphones, which makes us kind of stupid, is they're feeding off exactly what people are craving for, instant gratification. You are not going to get that in wholesaling. And if you do, you got lucky, and count it as a blessing, not as this is the way the business goes. So choose your heart. Just like when he talks about fitness and stuff like that. You can wait. You can either put the work in now and reap the benefits, or you can sit back, do whatever you want. But I promise you, you are going to pay for it in medical time. You're not going to be productive with your family. You just have to pick which one you want to do. Everything in life has a choice. The problem is you guys are sold shortcuts. And I'm just telling you, there is no replacement for hard work. And we want you to be successful. So
yeah. And the last part here is just pick your hard, right? Pick your difficult, pick your struggle. In wholesaling real estate, you're going to have to pick your struggle. Either you struggle finding a really good deal, making 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, or you struggle and have a really easy conversation with the motivated seller because you're offering an insanely high price, but now you have to struggle with selling the deal. Would you rather struggle lowballing a seller and being uncomfortable with that and making 40,000, or would you struggle going out here trying to sell a deal, right? I would rather struggle in the beginning. I like getting the hard work done in the beginning and then having the delayed gratification and making 30, 40 grand versus the struggle of trying to sell a deal because it was so easy to write that contract because you gave the seller everything they wanted and you're struggling with the cash buyer. And now you're upset and you have to get a reduction and now you're making only 10,000. Pick your struggle, right? The next part here is picking your struggle. Would you rather struggle in your financial life right now and never actually get to where you actually want to get? Or would you rather struggle getting into wholesaling and then you never have to struggle again? Here's the thing. There's two struggles in life if you're getting into wholesaling real estate. It is a financial struggle and there's a time struggle, right? And if you're starting out, you got to pick which one you want to do. And for a lot of people, they'll quit wholesaling and then they'll struggle with working a 9-to-5 job their life. And they will struggle with that regular monotonous grind of working and working and working. And I chose a different struggle. I said, that's a struggle that I hate more than anything. I'm going to go struggle in wholesaling. I'm actually going to go work more hours. I'm going to start working 70, 80, 90, even 100 hours a week in wholesaling real estate and struggle with my time and just work all day, work all day, work all day. And then eventually, about after I think a couple years, once I started hitting about 100, once I started hitting, I think $500,000 a year in wholesaling real estate, I didn't have to struggle anymore because I had a team and I scaled up to millions of dollars. I picked my struggle and I decided to struggle in the beginning and not struggle the rest of my life in a job. And really, if you want to get motivated to get into wholesaling, it's going to suck. It's going to be a struggle, but struggle now so you never have to struggle when you're older.
Yeah, you listen, a 9-to-5, the guys, I did that. Mine wasn't a 9-to-5. Mine was 7-to-7. And I did it for almost 12 years. And I can tell you, it was an easy fix at the time because that's all I was taught. Like, love my parents to death, but I didn't get a lot of tools, as a lot of you can relate on this. So I went to I tried the college thing. I tried everything. And after 12 years, it didn't work out. I gave up a lot of time. And then I said, you know what? I got so worked up and so frustrated that I go, it couldn't be any worse than what I have now. I can always go back to this. So what we want to do is teach you in wholesaling is you don't have to wait till like that. Mine was monumental. It just built up. And if you guys have a job, I hated my boss. I just didn't like where I worked. I made decent money. I paid my bills. That's all my job gave me. So they did a study, said 70% of the people do not like what they do for a living or the person they work for. So you can either make a choice in the beginning if you have that opportunity. Great. I didn't have that choice, man. I had to like figure it out quick and fast. And so failure wasn't really an option to me because I felt I failed so much. Guys, I didn't wake up till I was 34. Thank God, like he figured out. So those of you like raising kids, understanding kids watch what you do much more than what you say. And that was one of the great successes I was at. He's just like, you're always around. You go to my wrestling, you go to my like school events. And that was the luxury because I was frustrated when I did it with my father. But I got to tell you, when he was young, I spent a lot of time working and it was stressful. So I want to give you guys options and understanding. We have two diverse different backgrounds. I had to like go through the struggle, but he went through the struggle. He just did it in fast forward and figured it out earlier than I did.
Not as fun though. Like I'll tell you this. Yeah, I got it done a lot quicker, but I had to work a lot harder, right? And I basically got to do 5 years of work in 1 year. And it's not a fun thing to do when you wake up and you wake up tired and you go to bed tired and you did a lot, right? But I was able to go put my head on the pillow every single night when I was grinding like crazy and wholesaling with cold calling everything, knowing I did absolutely everything in my power to live my dream and not work that job anymore and actually provide for my family and myself. When I can go to bed at night knowing that I literally put everything I did into that day, there's no sleepless nights because I did everything I possibly can. That's all you really can do, right? And so let's talk about method number 2. We're jacking people up. I want to get people excited because
wake up.
The reason why we want to explain that really quick was, I mean, not really quick, but like a lot of people scoff like, oh, 2,000, that's too much. It's like,
guys, I would do more if I were you, but I'm giving you the bare minimum to even do the successes we talk about.
And so I get so many people trying to get into wholesaling. And one really interesting thing, and they always complain about how much work it is, and they all want the money and everything like that. I always have to ask them one simple question: pay the price now so you never have to look at the price of things. And what I mean by that is if you want to not. So here's another really good quote I learned for that, right? If you never want to look at the price on things, on a menu, the cost of a car or anything like that, if you want to be able to never look at the price of something, you have to never look at the time on the clock. And what that means is you never have to struggle financially if you are willing to get the work done and not look at a time clock or anything like that. You have to just constantly go out here and grind. And once you get over that grind phase, start doing deals, a lot of starts. So
I still look at the price for the record.
let's go to number 2 here. What's method number 2? Method number 2 here is 5,000 government leads. And everyone's like, what the heck's a government list? What's a government lead? And your gurus actually know what this is, but they can't tell you about it because we actually have said this term before anybody else, because you've been using this term for decades.
Yeah.
And the gurus actually can't patent it. They're like, shoot, what are we going to do here? And so they pretend like government leads don't exist, because then that ruins their whole course mentality. So I always implore everybody to talk about government lists on a guru stream. But then I remember, I'm like, don't even watch the gurus. They're so broke. It's sad. But a government list, right? These are going to be your code violations, your water shutoffs, your fire damage properties, your tax liens, any other liens, delinquencies, pre-foreclosures, really probates, any list you can, the arrest record list. I go on and on forever on this, but like, it's really any list you can actually pull from your government. And there's a ton of them. And if you go to freewholesaling.com, we break down how to do this, like all these things, but really 5,000 of them. You can cold call them, reverse drive files, whatever you want. Most likely it's going to be cold calling. If you want to do it, you can do SMS text blasting instead. If you don't do any cold calling, add some drawing for dollars, add some probate mailers. You put 40 hours in that, you can easily get 3 to 4 deals. Depends how well you do on it, but like probate should have very good on it. So that's what I'm thinking like that. So yeah. I also think too, one thing too is if you're pulling 5,000 government lists, it's not for the faint of heart. Most people are not going to give you the list too. And I want people to understand that you're most likely not going to get that government list. And what I mean by that is if you go on and try to pull a code violation list, you're going to get some resistance, right? Like, you're not going to be able to, they're probably not even be able to give you the list because they're like, oh, we don't even have that list. And a lot of you guys will go on my comments on all my social media and say, I'm giving up. The lady said no to give me code violations, so I can't do it anymore. This list is terrible because I asked once and I never got it. It annoys me because that's where 90% of wholesalers fail. They go up to the clerk of the court and they ask for they go to the code enforcement and they ask, can I get a code violation list? And they're like, no. And then they say, well, tried my best. We did our best here. And it's just kind of funny because the person that actually wants to survive, like they actually want to provide for the family, they actually need to get a deal. Not someone that wants to get a deal, but the person that needs to get a deal. They'll come up the next day and say, hey, I need a list of all open code violations. Say, no. Okay, can I talk to my manager? Okay, come up the next day. Hey, I need the code violation. No, like it's public information. They go the next day. They keep going. They file for you, actually do it. That's the person that constantly gets it going. And then the lady's like, all right, this is so annoying. Here's the list. I'm so sick of this person.
So overcome resistance with persistence. I tell you over and over. I'm not telling it because I'm lecturing it to you. That's what we do in our business. That's what I started doing back in 2003. And it still works today. Did you know the average person, if you overcome their objection at least twice, you are much more likely to get an outcome to your favor? But the reality of most human beings, you get one no and like, okay, have a nice day. You can't do that. So if you're going to be a wholesaler, you got to get over that now. So part of our training and everything we train you is how to overcome resistance. It's simply persistence. It's not, you don't beat them with a stick. You actually be super kind to them and you keep coming back to them. We teach you all these techniques at freewholesaling.com. It's simplistic. Most of the people teaching this business, they overlook, they just go, what do they say? Go out and get some lists. And they're mostly like paid lists because they don't know how to deal with stuff like this. All lists derive from some sort of government list. End of story. The level of effort you want to do with it, but there is no replacement for you guys getting these lists. Overcome their objections twice in a confident manner. Overcome the resistance with the persistence, and you'll get traction in this area.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is the way to do it. And then adding on the probate mailers, we have a free template at freewholesaling.com. Actually, had to pull the mailers out. Highly recommend it. Probate mailers, absolutely amazing. I think everybody should be doing probate mailers if you can do it.
And they're simple. They're simple.
Yeah.
It's not a ton of leads, just the probates, but they're slow, they're methodical, but man, are they profitable. And for those of you like definitely busy in a job, if I could have made my first 10 years of my business alone just doing probates because it was like 100 leads a month, very simple. You can even do a handwritten letter if you want to do, but we give you everything you need at freewholesaling.com. I would do it that way. And that's it. And then people call you at their convenience and you go about your life. Remember, that's just one technique. The problem why people they scorn it is it's not super fast. I don't get a deal overnight and it must not work. No. You might have to wait a few months. You might only get 2 or 3 leads, but man, when you get it, vacant house, run down, needs repairs, you can bring as many buyers through you want, and then you can close at your convenience. Guys, they are golden, but there's not thousands of them, and you just work through it. And the people that win in probates are the ones who do it the most consistent. So you might go a few months not getting a deal. Actually, that's most likely. That's how we survive doing it. And we just figured out the person, because most people do probates, they quit within the first 30 days. 95% of people, done. Just keep it going, man. What's the saying? The tortoise and the hare? It's
tortoise and the hare.
Yeah. You got to be that tortoise. Just keep on going. I don't care how fast you go. Just keep on going, because you're going to get more traction by being consistent than the person. So you might send out like 2,000 leads in a year. That would be a lot for a probate. It's not really expensive. It's like less than $50 a month for like the materials needed, but you keep probing away. Whereas the hare is going to go, I'm going to bang out 500. I'm going to go back 6 months, which doesn't work at all. And then I'm going to go chase other counties. And then after 30, he goes, hey, Rick, it doesn't work. You're not working it correctly. So, you know.
And what I could tell you is if you ever want to watch a movie that's about persistence, and this is a great one. It's,
Vision Quest?
No. It's the Founder, the McDonald's movie.
That was a great movie. That really was.
That guy was so persistent. Now, we are not getting what he did to the McDonald's brothers, but like he was extremely persistent and he never stopped what he tried to do.
It was good.
He was persistence. And if you look at the end of the movie, he talks about how he became successful. And obviously it was Michael Keaton doing it, but like it's all about persistence. And that's how he became Ray Kroc, billionaire, make McDonald's what it was because of persistence. And with that, it was absolutely amazing movie. But like, we're not talking about sales tactics, but like I can tell you is persistence wins. And because you pulled up the probate, you couldn't get the list and you gave up. Somebody that wanted it more in your market was able to get it because they kept persistence with it, and they were able to get the deal because they wanted it more. The person that wants it more will always win. And if you're questioning yourself like you want to give up after the first try, you probably don't want it enough. And maybe, and I say this all the time, maybe you just have to quit, struggle in your life with a 9-to-5 job and be at the point where you need to get a deal. And then maybe your mindset will change. I don't want that to happen to you, but really you have to be able to do whatever it takes to get that deal. And super important, right? Number 3, this is what I call the tax blitz. And you just think of taxes, right? What was the inevitability of life? Death and taxes, right? And death will be probates, and then taxes is taxes, right? And so let's talk about so we were talking about what happens, you pass away, we can deal with the probates there for marketing, but what about taxes, right? And taxes is a huge motivator for someone to get rid of a property. And so if you can do a tax blitz, you think of any type of motivation that's to do with tax, you do it, right? So what is this? There's gonna be your tax liens, your tax delinquency. So people that haven't been paying their taxes at all for the property taxes, tax liens, people that are really not paying it and they actually might get an auction on themselves. Then you got the state income tax, and then you got the IRS federal taxes, and you can actually pull these lists on.
We are just taxed too much.
I mean, there's a lot of tax.
That's my
there.
statement.
It's ridiculous, but
I gotta have a tax on the license just to.
But you make a lot of money, so you.
No, I'm just talking about like regular stuff too. It's crazy.
That's great. Okay, so we'll make you president.
I get distracted easily.
But no, so people not paying their state income tax, right? The IRS. We got who's that real estate investor that got hit? The Chrisley people.
Oh,
they went to. They're going to jail for like 13 years for not paying the Georgia revenue.
But it was more than.
It was like fraud and all
this
this
stuff. It was tax evasion with a huge layer of fraud, and
it's like
it crumbled. Another TV show crumbles because
a real estate investor didn't want to pay their taxes. And guys, I just want everybody to understand this. I am not the biggest fan of paying taxes, but the problem is if you don't if you don't pay your taxes, they will literally lock you up in jail. So I pay every dime I need to. I pay a ton of money in taxes, and I do it because my accountant tells me what to do, and I do it. But yeah, there's a lot of people actually still that can't afford it, right? And so usually what happens is I actually see this a lot for ex-employees where we pay our employees really well. Like we pay them very well. We have a lot of people in our acquisitions that make over $100K a year. And a lot of these people sometimes get too big for their britches. And they're like, you know what? I'm leaving. I'm going to do wholesaling myself. Yep. And it's kind of funny because we pay them maybe $100K in like October. and they leave and they try wholesaling. They fail. They broke. They actually lose all their money. Guess what happens during tax time? I send them a nice, beautiful 1099, and it's a 1099 for like 120K that we paid out in commissions or whatever. And they're like, and guess what happens with 1099? I have to report that to the IRS that I paid this person that money. And whatever it is, let's say 20% of that, right? That's like what? 25K in taxes, let's say. That person is like, oh, shoot.
You mean I got to pay
I had to
taxes?
pay 25K in taxes on this? They're like, uh-oh. I had an LLC. I didn't know. And then guess what? They burned all their money trying to be a wholesaler, and then they don't know marketing. They only knew acquisitions. And this is a true story that happened, I think, a couple of years ago with us. Guess what happens? They couldn't afford it. They literally couldn't afford their taxes. They're like, I didn't know I had 30K. I just spent it all.
Yeah.
This is a person that every income, they made a lot of money with us, but every time they got like a $4,000 check, they would go to like some Caribbean island or whatever for a vacation, take their girlfriend out, do all this crazy stuff, buy cars, all this stuff. And they just spent every dime they had. And that's a trap a lot of Americans have. The funniest part, and then they go back and they ask for money from us and all, oh, I'll come back. I'll make all this money with you. Like, but you think of like, that's a personal story for like people that you have ex-employees. There's a lot of people, and I'm telling you, a lot of people in wholesaling real estate with your motivated sellers that they'll make some money. They'll get an inheritance or something like that, and they'll spend it all. And then the IRS is like, give us some money.
And it's not overnight. This catches up. They come back like almost like 10 years later. So the IRS
crazy.
is, by the way, they're always like 3 years behind. So a lot of people think they get away with it, and then they wind up on these lists. And these are the lists we're talking about targeting. And that's why they're so prolific, because when you get on this list, it's not a problem until they contact you. And then if you do not settle up with them, if you've ever been in that situation, it's brutal. So I've had basic misunderstandings just for, simple filings and stuff like that. The amount of energy and time it takes to correct this stuff, even if you're on the up and up, but the people trying to deceive, eventually they come after you, and then they have the power to do whatever they want with you. That's why the motivation can get pretty high on these, but they do take some time. And it starts simply with property taxes to state income tax to federal tax, and it just adds up. And sooner or later, they will come and get you.
Yeah.
So I want you guys to stay off the list, but I understand when people are on that list, they truly need help and they get highly motivated quickly.
Yeah. So 2 things really quick. The IRS will actually figure out how much money you put into your bank account.
They do. It's crazy, isn't it?
They actually do. And they go, oh, it's only payments over. No, they'll figure it out pretty quick. And they'll like, okay, so it looks like John Smith here, he put 120K in his bank account. So we're guessing he's going to owe at least this. See his deductions and figure it out. And if you say you only made 30K, they're going to send you a letter wanting more details. The IRS don't mess with them, okay? But what that means is the IRS is actually pretty good at what they do, right? Like, obviously, it's a government agency. Sometimes they're not the most efficient, but that means for that motivated seller that might have made 80K, but spent it all, or go through a divorce or something really expensive like that, or a lawyer or anything like that. Oh, shoot, I got to pay 40K in taxes over the past 4 years, and I don't have that money right now.
Yeah.
But I have this ugly stinking house right now. Maybe it's a good deal, right? Like, the reason why I tell you go after the IRS tax list and the state income tax list is because I think my first 3 years in wholesaling, I never went after this list. But guess what I did? I remember one night I was just watching football and the Dolphins are getting crushed. This was a couple years ago. 3 years ago. Yeah. This was Brock Osweiler times. Not good.
You're talking about the last 20 years, right?
Yeah. So I was going through all the deals I've ever done, and I looked up every seller on public records, and I found a lot of them actually was behind on IRS tax payments, right? The Internal Revenue Department had liens, and the Internal Revenue Department actually had filings against a lot of these sellers. Not most of them, but a good amount. I was like, dang, if I just went after that list, which is pretty small compared to like a regular other list, if I cross-reference that, and that blew up our business too. And that's why I tell everybody, it's like, give me data, because I need to know everyone's data. Because once you look at everybody's data, you can really figure out and reverse engineer what you're doing from there. It's an amazing list. And on top of that too, because it's not the biggest list in the world, right? If you're in a smaller market, I would add the tired landlords list, because I call it quote unquote tax time. And during tax time, this is when I get a lot of sellers wanting to sell. So in Port St. Lucie, where we're at, taxes are due end of November-ish, right? And so beginning of November, end of November, we should get wired out. We just paid it. So I'm guessing end of November.
November 30th.
Yeah. So the end of November, we just paid a bunch of taxes for our rentals. that we have here.
Painful.
You complain so hard on it, but I'm like, whatever, just wire it out. A lot of these landlords are like, oh my God, I got a $3,000 tax bill. I just want to get rid of this thing. Like, I can't even afford the $3,000 in taxes.
What happens is you get a discount by paying it November 30th, and then they usually add a percentage on each additional month.
Yeah.
And then usually after 4 or 5 months, they're like, okay, dude, like we got issues. And then they give you a final notice, and then it basically goes to a tax certificate sale, and then they auction those things off, and then you owe somebody in arrears with interest, and then they basically, depending on what state you are, state of Florida is 2 years, and then they have the ability to file for foreclosure. A lot of people just assume that goes, well, that means I'm going to get the property for cheap. No, it goes to a regular foreclosure auction. Your little tax certificate gets paid off, and then anything over and above, it just gets bidded up to the highest bidder. So it's like, so the only way you're successful in that strategy if nobody bids, and the only property nobody bids are the ones that nobody wants, and they're usually vacant land you can't even build on anymore.
Yeah. So tax time, it's a great time to actually contact these sellers that want to sell. That's a really good list. And then the next one is, I call it the easy method, right? I try to put some fun names on these for you guys. I don't know why, but I call it the easy method. I get a lot of people say, Zach, I just don't want to do all this work, or I don't want to skip trades, right? I just hear excuses all the time. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to make an easy method. Let's add a really easy marketing strategy that people do because they don't want to do a lot of harder work for pulling lists.
Easy peasy.
And let's add in probates because it's a little harder to pull that list, but it's not a lot of calling. So if you complain about cold calling a lot, add this on, or you should SMS text blast if you really want, but just pull the Zillow for sale by owners and then do the probate. And if you do both of them, I think you should. But guys, that is really my 40-40-44 method. Ours.
It's a mouthful.
It's a lot. You know, I would probably charge $4,000 if I was a guru on this. So you just save $4,000 learning how to get $40,000 in under. So that's our method. We're sticking to it. And if you have any questions, if you want to learn exactly how to do it, remember, just go to freewholesaling.com or free real estate wholesaling course, and we'll hook you up. We'll hook you up, teach you wholesaling for free, and we'll get it going.